brand new and exciting tutorial from Aspire. Today's tutorial is indeed very important. In today's comprehensive tutorial, we are, God willing, going to meticulously craft the sacred pulpit of prophethood of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It is truly a great honor and a profound privilege that today we are diligently making the revered pulpit of prophethood. With a new tutorial from Aspire, today's tutorial is very important. In today's tutorial, we are, God willing, going to make the mihrab of prophethood of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It is a great honor that today we are going to work on the mihrab of prophethood. One of our group members requested this, how to create the seal of prophethood in 3D. So I'm going to try to make this video on that topic so that we can design it in 3D in a really good way. Let's get started. For this, you need an image of the seal of prophethood, which I have downloaded from the internet here. The one shared in the group had very low resolution, so the image of the seal of prophethood that I have, I downloaded it from the internet in high resolution, so that we can trace it as it is. Look, however it is written, we can't make any changes to it, because the design, the style, the calligraphy of the seal of prophethood should remain natural. So for that, we will use the various images of the seal of prophethood available on the internet. Out of all of them, this particular image is the one I found with the clearest resolution. So we'll start with this one. We'll begin in Aspire. When we open Aspire, we'll create a new file. You can set the size to whatever you like, 24 inches by 24 inches, for example. You can set the thickness to 0.75 inches. If you want to make it in millimeters, you can also set these values in millimeters. I set the X and Y, and after that, for the Z0 here, I set it to use the machine bed. Here we have a very high option, which makes it 7 times slower, but I selected that one because it increases the DPI. After that, you can select whatever color you want. I clicked OK on the file. After clicking OK, we'll import the bitmap here. Look, I'm about to import the bitmap. As soon as we import the bitmap, I downloaded an aux image from the internet and it's right here. This image you see here was made by one of our colleagues. He did a great job, mashallah. It turned out well. So I thought since he made it with NML, now I should show you how to make it in 3D. As soon as you select this axe, look, it appears here on your sheet. Hold down the Shift key and enlarge it. See, I kept it just a little inside the border, and then let go. This way the axe is now here with us. Right-click on it, go to its properties, and set it to the maximum position. That is, set it to non-fade. I set the fading to 0% and closed it, so that when you select or deselect it, after that we have a tool here called Trace Bitmap. I'm using SPI 10.512, but this option is also available in 9.5. Whether you use 9.5 or 10.5, the trace option is available in both. There's no difference. Any version can be used here. I selected the trace command. See, I selected this image, took the trace command, and here we have two options here, color and black and white. If you look, the image we've set isn't in color, so you should keep it on black and white. And then there's maximum and minimum resolution. We have two types of tracing to use, color and black and white. If you look, the image we've selected isn't in color, so you should set it to black and white. Here you can set the maximum and minimum resolution. I kept it in the middle. All these settings, like corner fit and noise filter, I left to their default positions, and then preview it, like this. When you preview it, you'll see here that this part has been traced. Now look here, this line has become perfectly straight. The same thing will happen in other areas as well. So if we move it a bit into this position, you'll see. Since the resolution is very good and high, these minor things might not make a big difference to you. You can also adjust them here as you like. Preview it and then apply and close it. Now, as you can see, all the edges have been beautifully traced. Select it, go to Object Properties, and now I'll add a bit of fading so it can fade out. Now, the things I want to check. Look at this. Right now, all the tracing that was done is in a group form. First, I ungrouped it using Ctrl-U, and now I'm going to delete this outer circle. Now, let me explain why I'm deleting it. As soon as I press N for nodes, you'll notice that a lot of nodes have been added to the outer circle. That's why I select this circle and delete it. We can redraw this circle later. After that, here, I am going to close the word Allah from one side. Take a look. There are a few things I'd like you to adjust here. If you look closely at this edge, you'll see it's become completely straight. So you need to press N for nodes. There's nothing else to it. Just come here, right-click, and make it smooth. Then on this side, also right-click here and make it smooth. And in this position as well, right-click and make it smooth. See, this curve is now smooth. If you have a curve that's too sharp, you can adjust it by right-clicking and smoothing it out. Sometimes the distance between the nodes can affect the smoothness. If you want a smoother curve, just adjust the nodes accordingly. If you have boxes impacting the shape, the curve might get distorted, so make sure to adjust those as well. These are the shadows of the curves that are appearing here. You can also delete them. By deleting, you can add smoothness from here. See, just like this, you can move forward. Now, wherever you see something that needs adjustment, you can adjust it. Look, it's turning out really beautiful, mashallah. You can also delete it. By deleting, you can add smoothness from here. See, just like this, you can move forward. Now, wherever you see something that needs adjustment, you can adjust it. Look, mashallah, the whole thing has been traced very beautifully. And if you look ahead at this area here, there's a bit of straightness here, so it will appear on this side because that's how it's made. On this side, you can smooth it out so it matches a bit better. That's it. If you notice anything like this anywhere else, you should definitely change it as well. In the same way, when I come here, I feel this edge a little bit, click and press. And see, when I came here, I turned on the smooth feature. You can also manually grab and adjust it a little. Look, I grabbed it manually from here, and this curve came out a bit. You can adjust it. Similarly, if you see any other part where you think it needs to be smoothed out a bit, like I'm deleting this, then go ahead and delete it. After that, look, I came here and smoothed it out, so I got what I needed there. So you can add the curve from here as well. In the same way, this is very important. These things are essential in your designing. Here, thankfully, we have this letter Ox, which is very good and blessed, so it's worth putting in the effort. Even when you trace your overall design, make sure to set these things. See, this is straight, wherever it went. Here. No doubt on the back end you also see it as straight, but we need smoothness. Look, I set the smoothness here as well, and here too, and it automatically adjusted. In the same way, if you see something like this somewhere else, if you see a straight edge like this, you should smooth that out too. See, I smoothed this one as well, and I made it a bit smoother and brought it down a little. So in this way, you should check this entire design one by one, and wherever it's needed, add smoothness there. Otherwise, you can use this design as it is. So I wanted to show you this feature, how we smooth out those straight edges. Next, I will convert this into 3D. So look, you need to go to Selection from here, and then this that we have. Select the words written here. After selecting them, if you want to preview it, go to 3D. Here, come to Modeling. As soon as you enter Modeling, the very first tool we have inside Modeling is Create a Shape from Vector Outlines. So I need to select this. As soon as you select it, you can take it into 3D from here. Look, I've made it a bit 3D as well. I took its view, and here the very first thing we have is the curve profile. Turn on the curve profile and make sure to give it a little bit of degree. Here I've set the degree and it will immediately start tracing and creating it. Now, as soon as you change any value, the 3D effect will start to appear right away. Here I'll set a limit for its height. So here I will, the limit height for this, I'll set it to 0.375. 0.375 is the base height here. As you can see, this is its base height. So the base height is 0.25. I'll set it to 0.375, meaning the base height will be 3/8 and the overall height will also be 3/8. So let's see, I'll apply this now. So let's see what difference it makes. Now there's this height and then there's this height. From here I set this height to 0.18, so that height decreased. Now for this height here I increase it through the angle. See, I increased the angle, so this height was created. So when we use this design, the height will be more in some places and less in others, because as the width changes. Accordingly, you'll see this difference in the height as well. So what do we need to do? We have to control this too. That's why we set it to limit to height. See here, I set it to limit to height. Now if I increase the angle of it here, you'll notice that limit to height starts to apply. As I increase the angle, pay attention. Now its limit to height has been adjusted, because by increasing the angle, the letters rise even higher and they controlled their limit to height. Now, if I set this to 0.3 here and remove 0.75, pay attention to what happens when I apply it. See, the top surface has become a bit flat. Look here, the top surface has become a bit flat. Now, what benefit do you get from this flatness? The height and beauty of the letters have improved compared to before. As you can see here at this height. Because the width is less, its height isn't fully achieved. Here too, because the width is less, the height isn't fully achieved. Now, we can't change these here. Look, we can't change these. So what can we do? We can keep increasing its angle from here, and the flat area on top will keep increasing. See, now there's a flat area on top. If I set this to 0.5 here, look, I set it to 0.5. Now apply it and pay attention to what happens. The base height here has been reduced. The base height below has been reduced. Now overall its height has become 0.3. That is, from the bottom it's 1.5 and 1.5 above it. So in this way the overall height is now 0.3 inches, which is approximately 3/100ths. If I set it to 375, then look, the base height will be a bit. With great finesse, its look has become even more enhanced. You could say its height is now about 9 millimeters. When I said 3 suits, that means its height is now approximately 9 millimeters. And after applying it like this, I cross-checked it. So look at this. By the grace of God, its 3D effect has come out beautifully. After we took the wax, when I go back to 2D, as I mentioned, after saving it, you will come here and draw this circle. Just go to drawing and select the circle. Look, I have drawn this circle here. Now, instead of doing it this way for the circle you just drew, set its X and Y position to 0 from here. See this? And here the diameter is 23 inches. We've set the frame to 24. I'll set it to 23.5 and create it. So look, the circle has appeared here. You can see the circle is here now. After this, you need to do one more thing. Since we made this in 3D, right now we only have the text that is written on it. Now we also want to add a circle for this. So I have drawn the circle, but now what we need to do is go into 3D modeling. Here we have the option to add a plane component with. With 0 height, we are going to add a base to it. Covering the model, I used a plane, and the plane was added to the bottom. While staying in 2D, we drew a circle. And if you want to make it round, then you need to set the 0 plane and that circle. Look, I took the 0 plane, and with Shift, I selected the circle. And from here, you can trim them. As soon as you precisely trim them, you will clearly see that the 0 plane we meticulously added has been completely trimmed from the specific area, and now this particular file is perfectly ready for any subsequent process. Here, allow me to provide you with an important option. You specifically need to carefully select the 0 plane and component number 1, and right here we have the convenient bake option readily available to bake the selected component into a single brand new component. Now proceed to convert this into a completely new component through the bake command. So as soon as I baked it, you can see that both components have merged into a single component, like this component here. See, it has become one component. Now after this, it's a very easy process. You'll export it from the model. Go to Model, then Export STL, and as soon as you export it as an STL, you'll see that while selecting these components, you need to set the tolerance here to 1. And after that, please look carefully here. You will observe that you have 3 distinct options available. First, to leave it completely open, which means no backface will be present. Second, to close it securely with the inverted front. And third, to close it with a perfectly flat plane. For this particular task, you absolutely need to select the very first and most straightforward option, and then proceed to triangulate it thoroughly. As soon as you successfully triangulate it, you will clearly see it effectively closes the shape and intentionally leaves the back completely empty. So, considering the original design we had, It's triangulated. Save the triangulation, give it a name, and save it. Once saved, this file becomes an STL in your system. For further work or tooling, come here and see we have two options. First, you can do the roughing. Some colleagues had trouble understanding roughing, how to do roughing in this. So look, as soon as we come here, we go to 3D roughing. First, we have to do roughing, either by taking the material boundary or the model boundary. So what is the material boundary? However much material you give it, like it will only take the boundary. After that, how much material allowance are we giving it? That is, when we are about to do roughing on it. The material allowance means how much gap or allowance we are leaving from the final. So we left a gap of 0.04 inch. And with 3D raster, see this is the Z level, and this is 3D raster, which will pass over it like this and do the trolling. And after that, look here, you also need to select the tool. I chose an NML. I'll take a 0.25 NML. Select 0.25 and calculate it. As soon as you calculate, it will quickly do the calculation. Now the object we selected, if I preview it, you can see it has done the roughing. In roughing, you can see it did the roughing with different passes, so we can adjust its passes. Set the pass depth, let's say, 0.3 millimeters pass depth. Click OK, then click Calculate. After calculating, reset it again, Preview, and here I reset it. Again, select Preview Selected Object. So look here, since I set the pass depth to 0.3 millimeters, it now does it in 2 passes. It will effectively perform the roughing operation. If you genuinely wish to significantly speed up the roughing process even more, instead of using a value of 0.75, I will carefully set it to 0.5 here. So a setting of 0.5 precisely means 12 millimeters. Now proceed to click the Calculate button, then exit the current view, and subsequently here meticulously reset the preview, and finally preview the currently selected component. See, it did it in 2 passes. Now, obviously, the depth is greater, which is why it took 2 passes, but still, you have the option to reduce the number of passes even further. Anyway, you must have practiced this by now, so you'll be able to work on it. Look, when I did the roughing with the end mill, you can see that the steps are quite large. Why? Because our cutter is a large size end mill cutter. After the roughing is done, we'll come here to the 3D finishing toolpath and use a ball nose. See here, we already have a ball nose available, a 1/8 inch one. And if you want to use the engraving tool, so what we'll do next is after the roughing is done, we'll come here to the 3D finishing toolpath and use the ball nose. See, here we already have a ball nose available, a 1/8 inch one. And if you want to do it with the engraving tool, you can use the engraving tool as well. The engraving tool has quite a few features. Here, for example, is engraving, and its diameter is 6 millimeters, meaning the diameter at the back of the collet is 6 millimeters. The side angle is 20 degrees. See here, it's 20 degrees. If you reduce it from here, you can set it to 10 degrees or 12 degrees as well. That depends on which tool you're using. After that, the flat diameter, meaning the flat part down here, this diameter is 0.5. I'll set this diameter here to 1.5. Number of flutes, 2. Passed up. Now look, in the cutting parameters, the passed up is 0.1 millimeter, so I'll increase the passed up. I'll set the passed up to 6 millimeters. Since we set the flat diameter to 1.5 here, the step over becomes 40%. You don't need to change this. It automatically sets the clearance pass step over to 40% as well. As for the spindle speed, feed rate, and plunge rate, those depend on each person's experience with their own machine, so you should set those according to your own practice. Now we've selected the tool and set all the settings. Look at both offset and raster. If you choose offset, it will run like this, and if you choose raster, if you choose the raster option, it will meticulously move in a distinct zigzag pattern from one side to the other. I have carefully calculated this process. It will indeed take a little bit of time to complete, and then the final precise cutting operation will be clearly shown here. You can observe it has now successfully performed the final cutting on the top surface. I will now reset the preview display specifically for this final cutting stage. Consequently, we now have two distinct toolpaths that have been successfully created and are ready for further action. Here, when I meticulously preview all the intricate toolpaths, you can clearly observe that initially the roughing process was diligently executed in two distinct and separate steps. Following that, I carefully applied the specific and precise toolpath right here, allowing you to plainly see that it ultimately cut and thoroughly finished everything from this particular point. Now, considering that you will already have a substantial amount of material positioned underneath, you will undoubtedly be able to effortlessly and smoothly remove the finished piece from that surrounding material. If you're having any issues with this, you can see here that its thickness was 0.75, and all of that thickness was being cut. That's why when we were applying the toolpath, it wasn't adjusting properly. So you can change it from here. See, all the material is on the upside. If I bring it to this position, look, I recalculated everything, and now bring it back to preview again. As soon as all the toolpaths are finalized, I preview it here. Let's orbit it a little. And after resetting the preview, I click on Preview All Toolpaths. So look, first it did the roughing. Now you can clearly see the roughing is done. All the roughing was completed in a single step. And after that, look, it did the final cut. It shaped it. Below, you can see the thickness of your material is still there. And on top of it, the seal of prophethood has also been beautifully made, mashallah. If on top of the seal of prophethood, you take the model boundary for the cutting we just did and calculate it, then it will cut up to the round area that we set. After that, you'll make a small program for an end mill, and from here you can cut it. We'll do that. Once tool calculation is complete, check the preview. Then we'll add the round. Two ways to apply this round. One, make a complete circle and cut the round. The other, use the natural axis shown or selected. You can cut it that way too. Look, I'll reset the preview and then do a preview all. So first you'll see the roughing. After the roughing, look at the final cutting. It's only happening in the area that we defined in the design. After that, what will we do? Look, after this, we'll need to go to 2D and then select this circle here. After selecting it, you need to select the Profile toolpath from here. Go to the Profile toolpath and turn it on. Here, the cutter is set to 0.125 inches, which is approximately a 3mm cutter. So you can cut with this 3mm cutter, or if you want to change the cutter to your preference, you can do that too. Here, I'm turning on the tabs. In the Edit tab, I gave it a total of 4 tabs and added them. Now, I don't want the tab here. Instead, I want it here so that it's attached to the material. Here, it's already cut out, so I need to remove it from here and add a tab here. I remove it from here and add a tab here. Remove it from here and add a tab here. I've turned on tabs on all 4 sides. And now let's calculate it. How much depth should we set? You see, I'll keep its depth at 0.75, and in the Edit menu, you'll also need to set its passes the same way. That means in a single cut, you can take it out. I'll set its pass at 0.75 and click OK. Select all these toolpaths, reset preview, and preview our toolpaths. Look, first it did the roughing. After that, it did the final finishing. And third, it did the cutting. See, the cutting has been done from the outside, and here, tops have also been added. Now you can easily remove it from here, and the small cuts with the braid will be visible on the backside. Look, you can easily remove these cuts, and the image of the seal of prophethood, by the grace of God, is now beautifully in front of you. Viewers, I hope that today's lecture was very beautiful and pure, with a meaningful assignment. And I pray to Allah Almighty that He grants us the ability to follow our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Viewers, I hope that today's lecture was very beautiful and pure, along with a meaningful assignment. And I pray to Allah Almighty that He blesses us with the love of our beloved Prophet Muhammad,